Fine. I want to just jump right in. Oh, I'm not even I am sharing. There we go. All right, here I go. How y'all doing? Shout out to YouTube. Hey, I see y'all out there. If you're watching this on replay, let me know. Drop replay in the comments. If you're watching this live, please let me know that you're watching this live. Appreciate everybody showing up on our um, Zoom platform. Let's have a good discussion. Hopefully the emails will go out and get the rest of our crowd in here, but I don't want to wait. So I want to make sure that I respect your time and we can get into our discussions. But of course, I got some overview conversations that need to be had on the front end, right? So let's kind of jump into that. I'm gonna try to manage both sides of these screens. Hey, Patricia, how you doing? Good afternoon. Appreciate y'all. Hey, Dale, appreciate you. Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, definitely let me know where y'all are watching from. But peace and blessings, family, right? Welcome to our Sankofa Sunday Dinner, right? I'm Freddie Taylor, the founder of Urban Intellectuals, and I am grateful that you decided to spend part of your Sunday here with us. And before we get into anything heavy, we definitely want to appreciate who's in the room. So drop where you're watching this from in the comments. I'll do my best to follow up and follow through on that. Get y'all a little closer over here. There we go. All right, North Carolina is here. All right, so city and state, wherever you are, let us know where you're watching from in the room. Oh, I don't got my comments up for y'all in here. Chat, there we go. All right, y'all quiet on me. All right. So give me a one in the comments if this is your first time experiencing anything from Urban Intellectuals. Give me a two in the comments if this is your first time to Sunday dinner specifically. Um, that appreciate. Give me 222 if you've been rocking with us on Sankofa Sundays and been showing up and showing out with us. But drop UI in the comments if you believe Black history matters. Black education is important. And these kind of conversations need to keep happening inside of our community. We definitely want to see who's joining us at the table. I see people are starting to storm in. I wish there was a way. Let me see. I need some assistance adding people to the group. So there, you would do that. I would appreciate that. Let me see. Wait a minute.
I'm here, Freddie. What do you need help with?
Oh, just adding people as they join inside of the Zoom. So
Okay,
I don't have to watch that. Thank you. I appreciate
got
it.
it. You're
All
welcome.
right, I'm back. Okay. Because let's see. All right, I want to see who's at the table, but this is not just another live stream. I definitely want to make sure that I'm mentioning that this is not just another show, not just a webinar or a bunch of panel guests that came to talk to you for an hour and then disappear. This is Sunday dinner. Things happen a little bit differently around here, and for Black folks, Sunday dinner actually means something, right? That's a whole conversation inside of the community. So when I say Sunday dinner, some of y'all already know that feeling. Some of us remember getting dressed after church and going over grandma's house. Some of us remember walking through that door, but smelling the food before we even saw the people, right? The greens already on, the beans already cooking, the potatoes marinating, the sweet potatoes marinating, right? The black mac and cheese, turkey, fried chicken, cornbread, dressing, the whole palette, right? But somebody better be careful with the potato salad, right? Because you know everybody can't bring that potato salad. Some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. But for me, one of my favorites is my grandmother's sweet potato pie. I always talk about it. If you've been around, you know I love sweet potato pie. But I can still feel that. I still remember it. I can still smell it. But let me ask you, what's your favorite Sunday dinner dish growing up? So in the comments, let me know, what did you enjoy around Sunday dinner? Drop it in the comments. Was it the greens? Was it the dressing? Was it the mac and cheese, the fried chicken, the yams? Was it something different, right? Did y'all do seafood, right? Is it cornbread, peach cobbler, right? All of those dishes are so wonderful. Sweet potato pie, I mentioned that because I love it. Um, and then while we're answering that, here's another question. What dish do you bring now, right? What can you cook? What are you trusted with at the family gatherings? Or are you the one that they ask, just bring the paper plates and napkins, right? Go ahead and put me in the comments. It's a safe space, y'all. Go ahead and put the truth in the comments. It's a safe space. If you about the paper plates and the napkins and the ice, hey, all of that is important. Hey, bring the drinks, right? Grab some Coke, bring some water, get a couple of beers, and let's have a good time. Gluten-free dressing. All right. You gotta have the gluten-free dressing, right? I guess that's important as well. But the food matters, right? Absolutely. Let me see what else we got in here. Dressing and collard greens, sweet potato pie. All right. Now, Alicia, you know that's my favorite. And what we got over here on Zoom? Let's see. Let's see. Stanford in the building. I got some tools. All right. Appreciate y'all. My UI is coming through. Nap time during football games, right? No coconut stuff. Pot roast mac and cheese, yeast roll. Ooh, the rolls. I forgot all about that. I'm so into cornbread. That always gets me. But Sunday dinner was bigger than just the plate, right? Sunday dinner was at grandma's house, big mama's house, whatever you call it. Papa sitting in the chair, granddaddy watching everything, maybe not saying a whole lot, but hearing everything, giggling every now and again. The aunties are talking, the uncles are debating, the cousins are running around, the kids are sneaking in and out of the kitchen, and you better stay inside because we're not trying to air condition all the whole neighborhood. Somebody's getting fussed at. Was that you? Give me a me in the comments if you were the one that were getting fussed at, right? Somebody telling old stories. Somebody saying, "You remember when?" Y'all remember those stories, right? Hopefully, y'all are catching the nostalgia that we're trying to bring back here with Sunday dinner. But somebody catching everybody up on the family, who got the new job, who had a baby, who needs prayer, right? Who's acting up? Got a feeling some of y'all be acting up, right? But who's doing good in the family? Who needs help, right? Who needs to be checked? Who needs a conversation? Who needs to be encouraged? The table was news, right? That Sunday dinner table was news. The table was therapy, right? The table was history. The table was culture. The table was accountability. That table was where we learned things that school never taught us or was ever going to teach us in the first place. And that's the spirit that we're bringing to Sankofa Sunday Dinner here every fourth Sunday of the month. This is where the community comes to the table. This is where we talk about the family, the culture, the history, the news, the headlines, the children, the elders, the economy, business, the institutions, and our future. But this is where we remember. This is where we reflect. We reimagine. We disagree without being disrespectful, right? But we're going to open it up and we're going to have some good conversations. This is where we ask the questions that are already happening in our homes, in our group chats, in our churches, in our workplaces, in our timelines, our families. So I want to be clear about this kind of space. It's interactive, right? Don't be shy. It's participatory, right? This is not a sit back and watch space only, right? Watch the talking heads. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from the community. I want to hear from our elders. I want you to be able to chime in. I want to hear from our parents. I want to hear from the grandparents, right? The young people that are listening, I'm encouraging you to lean in as well, because that's how Sunday dinner works, right? The young people may not always say much, but they're listening, right? They're absorbing, and they're learning how grown folks think. They're learning how the community processes things. They're learning what matters. So today, we're going to talk. We're going to think, right? We're going to do it all. We're going to wrestle. We're going to challenge each other. We're going to do it with love and respect, though, right? Respectfully, as they say, because we're a family at the table, and this is Sunday dinner, right? So I want to keep the conversations going, but we got a lot going on in and around here, right? So for those of you that are new, I mean, a little gnat in here. It's bothering me too. All right, for those of you that are new, let me bring up. I love the desserts. That's what I saw. There we go. Y'all should have my screen. But for those of you that are new to Sankofa Sundays, urban intellectuals in general, let me explain what Sankofa Sundays is about, right? So, all right, I'm getting there. I wanted to share a little bit differently. If you're new around here, also, you're gonna know that Freddie, like, we're behind the tech business that's online, but Freddie is slow Slow when it comes to this internet stuff. Yeah. Don't judge me. All right. It's a safe space. Y'all told me it was a safe space. Nah. Oh, I got the wrong screen up. Okay. I feel judgment. Y'all judging me? Don't judge me. There we go. All right. All right. I'm asking for some grace. There we go. I think I'm good. I'm kind of in the way here, but I didn't want to totally get off camera. But Sankofa Sundays is the weekly Black History rhythm we're building here at Urban Intellectual. So every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we show up with a different doorway into Black history, Black thought, Black memory, and Black future building. So on the first Sundays of the month, we have the Sankofa Report, where we look at current events through the lens of history, because current events are not random. They are typically echoes of the past. On the second Sunday, we have Sankofa Questions, where we slow down and wrestle with the big questions around Black history, power, culture, education, identity, liberation. On third Sundays, we do something called Sankofa Stories, Black History Reimagined. We bring Black history to life through story, imagination, emotion, and memory. This is historical fiction, y'all. On the fourth Sunday, we have Sankofa Sunday Dinners. That's where you are here right now, where the community comes to the table and we talk together, right? And when there's a fifth Sunday, like next week, we're hosting the Sankofa Classroom. This is where we're opening up a class from inside of Urban Intellectuals for our members, either for our children's club or an adults club, and we're letting the broader community get a taste of what our members experience on a week-to-week basis. So Sankofa Sunday is not just a show, it's a rhythm. Okay, every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, typically on YouTube, is where we are. I appreciate YouTube being out there and engaging with us. But it's a ritual, right? It's a weekly gathering around Black history, culture, and future building. This is what we're doing. And tonight's Sunday dinner is where all of that comes to the table. All right, let me see here. So, what we do each month is a different show, right? So, we have 3 different shows that we host each month that are 4 different shows. But this month so far, right? So, it's kind of a month in review. We did the Sankofa Reports. Kai Sanat made reading cool. Sankofa Questions there, number 2, from Sierra Leone to South Carolina. A very good conversation. Sankofa Stories, Love on the Nile, right? Remember that historical fiction. So this month we already had some powerful conversations as well. The Sankofa report again about Kai Cenat making reading cool and why Black literacy has always been revolutionary. Now, some of you may be looking at this and saying, Freddie, why is this important? Well, it's important because reading has never been neutral for Black people. You got to know the history. There was a time when our ancestors could be punished just for learning to read. Reading could get you beaten, it could get you sold, it could get you killed. But why? Because reading gave us access to our own minds. Reading gave us access to laws and maps and letters and scripture and strategy and rebellion and freedom. So when a young brother or a young sister with a massive platform makes reading visible and exciting to millions of people, especially our young people, we need to pay attention. We need to give the brother his flowers. I thought it was an excellent display that he put on, and it was very powerful, right? But because tonight we're talking about Black capitalism, Black business, Black wealth, and Black power, right? And one of the questions that we have to ask is, can Black capitalism save us if our children are not reading? If our children are not thinking, if they're not questioning, if they're not building? Then there was Sankofa Questions, right? Our second show. We talked about from Sierra Leone to South Carolina and the knowledge that was stolen from the African people. Because they did not just steal bodies, good people. See, they stole knowledge. They stole agricultural systems. They stole rice cultivation. They stole craftsmanship. They stole culture. They stole survival strategies. They stole spiritual memory. They stole people who already had intelligence, who already had skills, systems, and civilizations inside of them. That's the myth that's being portrayed when we flatten history, when we don't tell the whole truth, particularly to our next generations. You just think they went and got some slaves. They got some dumb people. No, they strategically went into Africa and stole particular people with particular sets of skills so that they can go into a particular area and produce under the whip. They didn't come over here and learn anything. That's a very important point. And it's one that we can't cease from emphasizing to not only ourselves, but to our young people as well. But all of this matters for tonight specifically because capitalism in this country did not just exploit Black labor, right? It exploited the knowledge. Our knowledge helped build wealth for other people. So tonight we have to ask the question, what would it look like to use that knowledge, our knowledge, to build wealth and power for ourselves? And then on the Sankofa Stories, our third one here, we told a love on the Nile, a romance in ancient Kemet along the Nile River. And I love that because Black history is not only trauma. We're not only oppression. We're not only struggle. We're not only slavery. We're also love. We're also beauty. We're also civilization. We're also family, imagination, art, architecture, science, music, poetry, romance, joy. And I believe we cannot build a powerful future if we only remember ourselves through pain. So we have to remember our whole selves. So tonight, all of that comes to the table. Literacy, stolen knowledge, ancient memory, Black love, Black ownership, Black excellence, Black business, Black institutions, Black power. And that brings us to our main question. Can Black capitalism save us? But before we fully open that up, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts and read your thoughts, hopefully you will participate and engage. Before we get into that, I want to give you a real update on where Urban Intellectuals is and where we're going, right? So I definitely want to fill in that void in that discussion. So I got to be a bit transparent, right? So it's been a tough year for business, right? So this is for for our members, our donors, our supporters, and all of you. This is an update, right? It's been a tough year. Y'all have seen the emails, you've seen the conversations, right? And I want to say thank you to everybody that supported the Save Urban Intellectuals movement, everybody who donated, everybody who shared, everybody who encouraged us, who prayed for us, who sent messages. I literally got a handwritten note. Like, y'all are so special. I love it, right? I literally got a handwritten note from a sister who wanted to encourage us and continue us to keep going, but her computer was down. So she said, I'm going to write Urban Intellectuals a letter, right? That's special. I love that. I appreciate that. I'm definitely going to respond to as well. But thank you to everybody who joined, who bought something, who said, no, this work needs to continue. We appreciate you deeply, right? You helped us survive. But now we're moving into a different phase. And I can't stand here and say, hey, we're completely out of the waters just yet. But I can say this. The request is changing. The angle is changing. The need is changing. The engagement is shifting. So we're retiring the Save Urban Intellectuals campaign. We're out of those waters, but we're transitioning into a new message. So you will start to see this conversation, right? Support the work, right? Don't just be a part. Don't just watch. Be a part of it, because we cannot only be about emergency support, right? Emergency support helps us survive, and we needed that. But membership helps us build. Membership creates stability. Membership creates the consistency that we need. Members create the foundation that allows urban intellectuals to continue doing the work that so many of you have already told us is important. Important enough to write a handwritten letter. When's the last time you've seen one of those? So let me ask you something. If you love what Urban Intellectuals is doing, please do me a favor, drop UI in the comments and just show your support, right? If you believe Black history is important, drop UI in the comments. Or if you believe that that these conversations are important, drop UI in the comments. If independent Black-owned organizations and institutions are important to you, come on, drop UI with me in the comments. If you believe our children need this education, drop that UI, right? Let's keep that going. Keep that energy, keep that participation. I appreciate y'all doing that, right? Because membership is really the backbone of this organization. And this is something that really came alive during our SAVE campaign. It's starting to really understand the numbers behind the business. right? So I said this during the Save campaign, and I'm saying it now even more clearly. Urban intellectuals need members, right? Not just one-time donors, not just likes, not just comments, not just shares. All of this is important and appreciated. All of it matters, right? But to build something sturdy, we need recurring support. So you're going to see our membership drive, right? So we're looking for 300 people to step forward and say, I believe this work is important. I want the work to continue, and I want to be a part of sustaining it. So our 300 people who become Urban Intellectuals members, right? Above and beyond those that are already in the membership. And we definitely want to keep you around as well and definitely appreciate the work that you have been doing. But 300 people, 300 new people to say, I want to see those daily reels continue. How many of y'all are following us on YouTube? Please continue to do that. Tamiko, if you could drop the YouTube page down there, that'd be pretty cool. Oh, I got it over here. All right. Yeah, if you're not following us on YouTube, please do that because we're dropping daily history over there as well. Bam, there we go. But you say, I want to see these daily reels continue. Right? I want to see the daily Black history education continue. I want to see Sankofa Sundays continue every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to see our Sankofa deep dives continue. I want to see the weekly classes for adults inside the Sankofa Circle. I want to see the Sankofa Club continue for our children with live Black history classes and social emotional learning and leadership training. I want to see independent history media continue. I want to see this Black-owned education space stay, right? These conversations to continue, the mission to move forward. Because the truth is, if we want independent Black institutions to exist, we have to support them while they're alive, right? Not just complain when they disappear. So don't mourn us when we're out, right? Just say somebody should do something. Not, and just instead say we need this, right? But if we need it, we have to build it. And if it's being built, we have to support it. That is the key, right? So we are inviting you to become a member of Urban Intellectuals today, right? Membership starts at just $40 a month. And if you and I know every dollar counts right now, and I respect that 10,000%. $40 is not nothing. It is, but it is an investment. But if this mission matters to you, right? If that membership helps us continue to stabilize the work that we're doing. And it's not just a donation. You become part of what we are building. When you become a member, you can choose your own path, right? If you want this for yourself, we can connect your membership, your Urban Intellectuals membership, to the Sankofa Circle. That's where we teach live Black history classes to adults via the Zoom platform and give access to all of our previous classes. There are over 75 classes available for you at your fingertips. If you want this for your children or your grandchildren, we can connect you with our Sankofa Club. This is where we pour into our young people with Black history, identity, confidence, social, emotional learning. And if you want both for a little bit more, we can do that as well. But the larger point is this: your membership supports the work. That's what I'm getting at. Even if you cannot show up to every class, even if you cannot watch every video, even if you cannot take advantage of every benefit, your membership says, this mission matters to me. And I want Urban Intellectuals to continue to do this work. And the more members we have, the more stable we become, the stronger we become, the more we can create, the more we can teach, the more we can serve, the more we can build. Y'all get where I'm going, right? So if you're watching this and you value the work, please become a member today. So you go to store.urbanintellectuals.com/monthly cycle. Tamiko, I don't know if you were prepared to drop that link. I got it up here somewhere. Here we go. So I can drop that. Oh, Tamiko, I think you are ahead of me, aren't you? Of course you are. All right. But that's all of that. We get rolling. So sign up for our Sankofa Sundays. We're here again, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Sunday. Support the company, support the mission. Hey, join us inside the Sankofa universe, right? We have our very own social media platform for deeper discussions to keep all of this going. SankofaUniverse.com. Just lock in with us, right? All your support, your engagement, all of this matters to the company and everything that we do moving forward, right? Because if we say Black History Matters, we have to support it, the people that's teaching it, right? So if Black-owned media matters, we have to continue to get behind it and build it and make sure that it is supported. Because if we're talking about Black capitalism, Black ownership, Black institution, Black power, urban intellectuals is not separate from this conversation, right? We're living inside of the question literally. But I want to continue because I know we came here for a specific discussion here tonight. So I appreciate y'all giving me a moment to get you caught up on where the company is, where we are, and where we're going. And the space that you've wandered into, right? Again, for our new people that have been here, that are here, welcome. Definitely are welcome to the conversation and welcome to participate. But tonight's question is, can Black capitalism save us? I'm curious to see how do y'all feel about that, at least before we lean into some more of the discussion. But I want to be careful because this conversation cannot be a shallow one, right? It cannot just be support Black business conversations, but because we should support Black businesses, right? I think most of us agree. I think we should support Black businesses that operate in excellence, right? I believe in giving a Black business a chance, but if you're giving out poor quality foods, for poor quality service, bad customer service, I don't think you're obligated to stay, right? I think you should say something and give that business an opportunity to adjust and change. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they need to learn or whatnot. We don't always get great quality service from other institutions, particularly in our community. So I don't want you to be short with Black businesses, but I don't think you should just continue and be abused. You work too hard for your money, right? But anyway, the deeper conversation is, can Black capitalism save us if it only creates individual success and not community power? I hope y'all have seen some of the reels that we were posting leading up to this discussion. Leading up to this discussion, because I think it really kind of frames the conversation well. But it cannot. One of my theses is we cannot create individual success and think that that's going to lead to community power, because we have more Black celebrities, more Black influencers, more Black executives, more Black athletes, entrepreneurs, Black millionaires, more Black people getting invited into rooms our grandparents couldn't even imagine walking into. And I don't want to dismiss that. It's all real. It is progress, right? And it does matter. And we're happy for those individuals. But we got to ask, do we own the schools? Do we own the media? Do we own the banks? Do we own the land? Do we own the platforms? Do we own the supply chain? Do we own the institutions that shape our children, protect our elders, employ our people, that tell our stories, that defend our communities? Because a Black person getting rich is beautiful. But a Black person getting rich is not automatically the same thing as Black people getting free. A Black person being excellent is beautiful. But Black excellence is not the same as Black power. A Black person getting into a room is beautiful. But being in that room is not the same as owning the building, right? Black excellence asks questions. Can we succeed in their system? Black power asks a different question. Can we build and control the system of our own? Black excellence asks, can we get a seat at the table? Who owns the table? Black power asks, who owns the table, right? Black excellence says, can we be represented? Black power asks, do we have authority? Black excellence, can they see us? Black power, can we protect ourselves? That's the conversation tonight. Not slogans, not guilt, not shallow celebration, a real conversation about Black capitalism, Black business, Black excellence, Black ownership, wealth, power, and institutions. And before we serve the main course, get fully into the discussion, let's do what families do at Sunday dinner. Let's catch up, right? Let's catch up. So let those thoughts float through your mind as we start to dive into this conversation. But before we go into that, right? What's on your mind this week? What are y'all talking about in your homes, in your group chats? What's the discussions and the debates at church or work or the timeline, the family? Y'all, are we still talking the bonnets and do-rags thing? Y'all remember that, right? Ryan Clark, ESPN, still a discussion. Black excellence, the economy. Your guy Trump doing whatever he does. Any black conservatives out there? I don't want to drag the conversation a different way, but I just kind of got curious. But the state of black businesses, have y'all been following EYL, right? Earn Your Leisure, building a platform on black people, and then one of the founders talking about this has never been about just black people. That's always interesting to me that we build our backs. It's a lot of industries build up on black people and then desert us, right? So I think specifically about the television channels that have had black programming, and then all of a sudden they switch once they, reach their milestones and are able to sell the business, and they sell us down the stream. But anyway, that's another conversation. But I think we have to think about who we support, right? So drop down in the chat, what's going on? What are we talking about these days in and around your conversations? You can feel free to raise your Zoom hand to go ahead and jump into the conversation. Yeah, those types of stuff. Where y'all at on YouTube? I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for joining us. Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, okay. I wasn't on the screen over there. Okay, my bad. I'm learning. Situation. Churches and neighborhoods develop consortiums that teach business, investment, and finance and after-school programs. I love that idea, right? Shout out to Grand Amazing. That's dope. Stop voting Democrat. Uh-oh. Is that on any of y'all's bingo cards? Stop voting Democrat, then start teaching young black students about economics from grade school, how to build wealth for the future generations to come. I wonder, Michelle, what does that have to do with not voting Democrat or even voting Democrat, right? I don't know. I didn't really see the tie-in to that, sister. So maybe I missed it, right? It's quite possible that I missed it. And if you would, feel free to come back and fill me in on that. Get me right, as they say, because I could have missed it. Okay, y'all quiet today. I got something for you. I want to warm up the conversation with one of our lead-in videos, because I think it really gets to the crux of the conversation, at least for me, right? I'll say that. And if y'all are interested in joining the discussion, just raise your Zoom hand. I'll chime you in. There you go. All right, here we go. So in case y'all didn't catch these, please follow us on YouTube. But I think we've done a pretty good job of starting the conversations leading up to our Sunday dinners, right? Our Sankofa Sundays. I'll play this one first. Check this one out. Black people have more millionaires than ever. So why don't we have more power? Have you thought about this? Let's talk about it. Black people have... Your boy Trump's at it again. We keep talking about buying black, but can buying black actually save Black America? Let's talk about it. For years, we've told black people, buy black, support black businesses, keep the black dollar in the community. I'm absolutely in favor of supporting black businesses. Don't get me wrong, but I think we need to ask a harder question. So let's do that now. Can buying black actually save Black America? Because imagine I own a black business, right? Which I do. I buy something from me. You buy something from me for, let's say, $100. Outstanding. Great. But when I use part of that money to pay rent to somebody outside of the community, my business loan is with a bank that we don't own. My inventory comes from manufacturers we don't control. My website runs on somebody else's technology, somebody else's server. My advertising dollars go to platforms we don't control. My shipping goes through companies we don't own. And eventually, most of that $100 leaves the black community anyway. So did we create black economic power, or did we simply create black-owned business operating inside somebody else's economic system? See, this is important. This is an important distinction. When people talk about places like Greenwood, what we call Black Wall Street, and those that of them that were around the country, because in Tulsa was not the only one. The lesson shouldn't be simple, or it shouldn't simply be this. Look at all those black businesses. See, the deeper lesson is that black communities were trying to create economic ecosystems. Doctors serve black patients. Lawyers serve black clients. Businesses hire black workers. Property was owned. Institutions were created. Money had multiple opportunities to circulate before leaving the community. That's different from putting a black face on a company. So maybe buy black is the beginning. Don't get me wrong. I think we should be doing that. But it cannot be the entire strategy. Maybe the bigger question is, do we own the land? Do we own the capital? Do we control the finance for one another? Do our businesses purchase from one another? Are we building institutions that will still exist 50 years from now? Because if not, we may have black commerce without black economic power. And that's exactly what we're putting on the dinner table this Sunday. Can black capitalism save us? I want to invite you to our Sankofa Sunday Dinner. Join us this Sunday and every Sunday at 3 p.m. So this was my warm-up discussion leading into this conversation. And I actually meant to play the other one, right? Because I feel like the other one was softer. I feel like that one really hits at the heart of everything, at least that I wanted to introduce into this discussion. Not I want to say everything, but a lot of things that I wanted to introduce into this discussion, because buying black is important, right? Anybody disagree with that? Let me back up. Anybody disagree with that? Do you think buying black is important? Give me an answer in the comments. Yes or no. Is buying black important? Yeah, yes or no. I think that's a yes or no. If you got a maybe, put your hand up and let's have a conversation. That's possible. You could have a maybe, right? It could be, yeah, I don't know. You know, it's all right. It's something. It's a maybe. I'm gonna wait. Y'all ain't participating with me. Y'all just gonna make me talk for 2 hours. Huh? You know I can do it now. Yes. All right. We got one yes. Deborah agrees that buying black is important. I definitely think that it's important. Right. But I think the shallow way that we are doing it is leading to I think the shallow way that we're doing it is leading to the ineffectiveness that we're noticing today, right? Because we're just saying buy black as if that's just supposed to turn into magic, right? And somehow positively impact our community. I wish we could go back and talk to the entrepreneurs from 100 years ago, 150 years ago, and not even just the entrepreneurs, but the whole community. Like I'm looking at my wall over here, I see O.W. Gurley, right? Like who went to Tulsa, Oklahoma and bought the 40 acres of land and parceled it out and sold it specifically to black people and black businesses. Black people came and built those businesses and started to work together. And it's like I want to say something, but I don't want to kill another conversation we're going to have later. But I feel like integration like messed everything up, right? Because once integration happened, we lost the soul of the backbone and what was talked about in that reel, right? Once integration happened, the supply chain fell apart. Once integration happened, those businesses didn't spend their money with other black businesses. So in my example that I talked about, you spend $100 with me, but by the time as a business, I have expenses as well. I have to hire a lawyer. I have to hire an accounting service. I have to buy products and service. I have to buy products from other people. I got to hire other services. So I got to take a portion of that $100 and I got to spend it in other places. But the problem after integration is when I spend after that $100, I don't have a black business to spend with. So I can't circulate that dollar anymore. So then your $100 comes in, 97 of them fly out the door, or whatever it is, not, let's call it 80%, fly out the door to somebody else. What stays in the company is the black people that I hired, that I got to employ. but we don't get no benefit of that same dollar working around and around in our community. They talk about Black Wall Street when it was at its height. The $1 would circulate in the community 20 times, but it would circulate in the community because you spend it with one business, they'll go out and spend it with another, spend it with another. The people who that they hired came from the community. Those individuals went to the grocery store, take that same dollar and spent it with those individuals. But we look around our communities today, we don't own nothing. Like how would you even circulate it? And I think if we continue to build businesses in isolation, I think I can't imagine how it's going to improve. How is it going to get better? Because let me play the second video, and I think it introduces another discussion and kind of along the same point. This is the one I wish. Your boy Trump's at it again. Black people have more millionaires than ever. So why don't we have more power? Have you thought about this? Let's talk about it. Black people have more millionaires, entrepreneurs, executives, entertainers, athletes, and highly paid professionals than probably any generation before us. I think we all can admit that. So let me just jump into it and ask the tough question. If individual wealth creates black power, why don't we have more power? Because we clearly have black people making millions of dollars. Just look on the internet. Ask them. Some making hundreds of millions. Seriously. A few making billions. We have black CEOs, black-owned companies, black celebrities with massive platforms, black athletes signing contracts our grandparents couldn't even imagine or fathom. And I celebrate all of this success, and I think you should as well. But we have to stop confusing black people having money with black people having economic power. See, there's a difference. Those are not necessarily the same things. Economic power means controlling institutions like land, bank, capital, housing, schools, media, distribution, supply chains, political influence. It means having systems that can survive when one successful individual leaves, dies, sells the company, or loses their fortune. So think about this. A black athlete signs for $200 million. Incredible accomplishment. But who owns the team? Who owns the arena? Who owns the television networks? Who owns the bank holding the money? Who owns the companies receiving most of what he actually spends? That doesn't make the athlete powerless. Let's not go crazy, right? But it should force us to ask bigger questions. Are we building wealthy black individuals, or are we trying to build powerful black institutions? Because those two are completely different economic strategies. And maybe one of the biggest mistakes we've made is assuming that enough black people personally succeeded. If they did, somehow that success would automatically trickle down into the collective freedom, trickle down theory. We've been waiting on that trickle down for a long time. So this Sunday, I want to put a question on the dinner table. Can black capitalism actually save us? And if it can, what would black economic power really have to look like? I want to invite you to join us this Sunday for. Okay, I got you here now. I got you here. I don't gotta sell you on showing up. Y'all showed up. But the question is real. And while I was listening to that this time, I came up with a different question. So it's a little bit lighter. Y'all gonna participate with me. Lisa, you turn your camera on. I can see you. So, all right, Monique. They joined you as well. All right, but. Like listening to that, and I'm pointing to my screen over here, it got me thinking. Because if you've bought the idea of the American way, rugged individualism, boy, the only thing that matters is you. You just got to do the work and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Now, if that is what we've bought as a community, then all right, I get it. But I think the real question is, do we feel like we need us? Do we feel like that? Answer that question for me before we dive back into the capitalism question. Do we feel like we need us? Does there need to be a collective black consciousness in order for us to survive and thrive? Or do you feel like, nah, I just need me, get my family together. We gonna do our thing. We gonna jump into this economics. We gonna get our degrees. We gonna build our money up. We gonna get our life insurance. We gonna do our savings. We gonna do our stuff, and we're gonna be fine. Or do we feel like, and have we lost that feeling of a collective us? What do you think, Lisa? I got to pull you in. I know you're willing to have a conversation with me. I got folks in here being shy today.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Hello, everybody. Hi, family. Hi, Freddie.
Hello.
Go. Um, Hold on one second. I'm running you on YouTube too, and I don't want to have a echo chamber. I'm going to be really honest with you. There's something I want to say here, but I'm not comfortable saying it on a live stream.
Okay.
All right. About who really owns the money, the banks, all that stuff.
Okay. I think we can read between them lines.
I think there's a bigger question here. And, again, a lot of I'm an ally. I don't even like that label, but I'm an ally. That's what I am. So I can't speak directly from the Black American experience. However, I know a good amount of stuff. And I wish I could say what I want to say, but I won't on a live stream. Mm-hmm. There's something else I wanted to say. Oh, I'm going to put, I was in the library yesterday and I found this book called No One is Self-Made by Lakeisha Hellman. And it's a book about the myth of the bootstrap. So sick of that. So sick of that. And I will say this is personal, what I'm going to share. Take a little risk here. I experienced homelessness and destitution over the past 7 years. I'm just now rebuilding my life after going through a lot during the pandemic. And that myth has no place. That myth, I never believed in it anyway, but it got completely shattered. And I do know something about, how should I say this? I see more interdependence in the Black community than I have in other communities that I've been in, especially in church. I've been in a variety of different churches. The hymns that are sung are different. There's still that traditional feeling of, we need each other to survive. There's literally a song about that, right? And the church that I'm in now, which is very different from the one I used to go to, today the sermon was about, we need each other. Because the culture's gotten, mainstream American culture has gotten way too comfortable. We really need each other. So I love anything that talks about busting the myth of the bootstrapping and relying on one another and supporting one another for everybody, regardless of what our ethnicity is.
I love that. That's good. Thanks for sharing that book. I definitely made a note of it.
I'll put it in the chat for everybody, or I'll put it on YouTube also.
Yeah, please do that. Thank you. I always appreciate you. Yeah, that boots self-made is wild. So I love that. I'm gonna check that out. I got a laundry list of books that I'm listening to, but reading or listening to, one or the other. But I like this conversation because I like the way the conversation kind of turns a bit, right? And I see them talking about how do we where did I see? That's my clothes. True. Like looking for the emoji conversation. Oh man, I can't even find it. Yeah, how do we get that going back into the community, right? Michelle says we need us, but are not aware. And I think the elder generation understands the need, the collective need, right? I don't know if Gen X and down is like really getting it. And I feel like I'm in Gen X, right? I feel like we're old enough. Some of I'm in the younger side of Gen X. I'm 50, right? So maybe the elder Gen X crew seen it enough, right? You've seen it enough. So probably shouldn't even use Gen X. I go with millennials, right? Elder millennials probably seen racism firsthand enough to realize, like Gen X and the generations before, like, nah, you can't be out here talking that individualism talk, that's gonna get you killed, right? You can't. That's like saying, "Oh no, I'm fine. I'm just gonna march down the street all alone." Like after dark, like you get the elders saying, like, "Man, that's crazy," right? A lot of our reflex actions, right, come from a place of pain, right? I'm listening to Sammy Davis Jr.'s story right now, which there's a lot of stuff I didn't know about Sammy, right? But it's the 50s, right? It's the 40s and the 50s, and like he's going through it, but he's a big talent and he's being introduced in spaces, and he's going through it. He's experiencing what we're all talking about firsthand. But I fear that the younger generations, they're so disconnected from it. Like I'm from Inkster, Michigan, right, which is outside of Detroit, Michigan. I wouldn't exactly call it a suburb, but you can call it what you want. But I went to schools in a city called Taylor, Michigan. And growing up, they used to call it Taylor Tucky. And I never really understood that comment until I got older, right? But experiencing racism on a regular basis, like as a child from grown ass men and women, is wild to us today. But that's the environment we grew up in Taylor, Tucky, right? So growing up in that environment, you understood, like when you see other Black people, you need to get together. We got to work together. We need to be cohesive as a people in order to survive junior high, right? In order to survive high school. And somehow we got out into this business world or into this entrepreneurial streets, and we've lost those lessons. I think it's gotten dissipated, right? I don't know. I could be off. Y'all raise your hand, jump in the conversation with me. Y'all just got me out here naked talking by myself. No, yeah, okay. No One is Self-Made. That's the book. Thank you for that. Building Your Vision and Business in Life. I love that. Dr. Lakeisha Hamilton. All right. Hallman. Boy, it's bad. You put your glasses on and can't read. But I think we lost that collective feeling. But I played more Black millionaires, more Black executive, more Black doctors, more Black college graduates. We got more. But our communities are hurting. Inkster is close enough. What up, though? What's up? Yeah. Oh, look, Siri over here being nosy. You don't know nothing about what up, though, Siri herself. I'll be home next week, by the way. Detroit. All right, yeah, there's the book. But yeah, I feel like we've lost intentionally done, Jan says. Yeah, I mean, it may have been intentionally done, but how do we get it back? Like, what is it going to take? Are we going to have to really? I mean, we're in the midst of Trump right now, and I don't know, folks. The politics game is just so interesting to me. I saw somebody talking about, stop voting Democrat. I'll leave that alone. I'll let Jane jump in here before I take us off on another tangent. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. I'm sorry, I'm traveling and I hope you all can hear me and I'll be
Yes.
brief. Thank you for the space. You say, how can we get it back? But I think we need to figure out where we lost it,
Hmm.
where that sense of unity and oneness, where was the ball dropped? Which, and I don't want to blame anyone, but I think that and if I can just throw it out there, in an effort for my parents, me as a parent, to make lives better for our children, and to have this sense of you belong in this society. You belong just as much as anyone else belongs. We have had them forget what we had to go through to get them there.
Hmm.
So they forgot, they don't know. They know by looking at old movies or whatever you've told them, whatever you've kind of showed them when they get Black History Month or whatever, but they don't understand the true route that it took for them to be where they are. So they've got this kind of cushion that, hey, I'm here. I'm just like everyone else. And we do this to ourselves. You're not where I am, no matter what our, what we have in common as far as being both Black people or people of color. I'm still just a little better than you because my parents worked harder to get me where I am. So therefore, where you are is your problem, and where I am is my benefit. We don't look at it as a collective, and even our children, we see the suffering of other people or do we really? Communities that we live here in the suburbs. We don't live in the inner city, so we don't understand what they go through. So that's their problem and not my problem. And I have to say, where did we lose it? Where did that come from? And it's not just this generation, it's my generation. We don't go back. We don't go
Mm.
back and just, embrace you're here. Let me help you. Let me do something for you. We just kind of move on to get more, to be more, and to get what we think is I guess I don't want to say, but what we think that we can achieve as far as monetarily, getting to the big homes and the penthouses and the boats and all these wonderful things and we just forget about our people. We forget about what it took to get us there. It's so, and I think I'm rattling, but I know what I want to say. It's just like we're just comfortable. We've gotten
Mm.
comfortable and we don't look at anybody behind us unless we want to just, give to the goodwill or give to this organization. But other than that, being there and actually being present and being there to guide and assist, we don't want to do that anymore. We give to them, but that's it. I hope that makes sense. And I'm complete. I think I may be back.
I hope you come back. I hope you come back.
Okay.
No, it definitely does make sense. We're not doing enough to connect the next generation to the workload. I saw, man, I gotta like, yeah, somebody, Pedro says you need to share the business load. That's how you keep capitalism, tribalism, and quality of life. I think it was like kind of reflected on the same thing. We got to share. We got to go back. We got to reconnect. We can't keep just hiding them from these experiences. Deborah, come on into the discussion.
Um, so my background is that I live in Denver, Colorado, and I grew up with my mom and dad having a Black business. I grew up in a community where it was like a snapshot of Harlem in that we're surrounded by businesses in 5 Points. And my dad had his business, I think, a year after I was born. So he started his business in 58, I think, 59. And by 1992, things had started to deteriorate. By that, I mean that I think that we had gotten, I don't know if we lost focus or if there wasn't enough alignment, but everything was starting to deteriorate. The person that helped them gain this land was selling out because in my opinion, it's like we were getting too powerful. I don't know if our focus was on, I think our focus was on community, but at the same time, a lot of folks of non-color were moving in. And so it's like they weren't comfortable with the fact that we had what we had. We had restaurants, we had bookstores, we had music stores, I mean, you name it, we had it. And I remember I was injured pretty bad in 92. And that's when I remember um, things starting to change. And I remember later on when my son was born, I tried to talk to him about going into the business. And I tried to give him the values that I'd grown up with, of self-determination and being able to do your stuff yourself. I took it as far in terms of because we had a restaurant and bar. All of my service providers or my providers were African American. My gynecologist was African American. Um, my dentist was African American. And I felt safe I felt pretty safe walking down there. I was in a Black troop that was also in that downtown area. So it started happening, close to, 92 and the 2000s where, next thing I know, we don't, everybody was, um, the person that sold the properties, everybody had decided, well, I can make more money if I let this other group of people come in and take over. You guys don't know what you're doing. Yet we were there close to 60 years and we're pretty successful. So I think at some point, I think when we start these things, we have to be in alignment, mentally, spiritually, all of that. I think that's maybe something that was probably lacking in terms of our focus, because it got to where everybody was in it for themselves instead of us being a community. But that was someone coming in and saying, hey, you know, um, you can do better if you do this, or you could do better if you just sell your property and let somebody else have it. I don't, I'm still kind of baffled this whole process about how that happened, because even with my son, I try to talk to him about going into the business. He's like, I don't like the way you guys do things. There's a better way to do it. I said, well, what's your plan? Their plan was totally different. It wasn't about community. So, some point we lost focus of really what was important in terms of community and having that alignment mentally, spiritually, physically, all of that. And everybody just had the mentality of, if I got mine, you get yours.
What
But I
you
remember also, I will share this, that was very painful for me, because I worked with my dad for about 13, 14 years. I consistently saw when the people came in to provide him with the supplies, they would always ask, well, where's the owner? Because they figured something this successful could not have a Black man in charge of it. And I kind of saw how that tore away at my dad's spirit every time they would do that. And it was continual. Every time, they would always ask, where's the person that owns this or that's controlling this? And he would be standing right there, it's me. And so for years, he went through that also. But I couldn't help but want to have Black providers. And I still to this day would prefer, that's just me, and even with the busing, I felt like, you mentioned that also, I did feel like when I went into a different community, the teachers didn't want to teach me because I was Black. And that, and I experienced that with my son. A lot of, non-melanated people would say, would quote on his, not on his intellect, but how he looked, because he was lighter, the colorism was coming in. And I would say, I want to know more about what he's learning today or what he's learned today. I don't want to know about this other stuff. So I constantly went through that whole thing of, all of the issues that come with being an African American woman, that has a disability also, so, and even then, we aren't provided the things, medically that we should have as women, and women with an African American woman with a disability. So it's a continuous thing. So I think we just have to really be serious about being in alignment about what our focus needs to be.
um I love that. Thank you for sharing all that. I got a question for you. You said you saw things change around 92. Was that 92 or 52? 92
92 in the 90s,
in the 90s through 2000. Okay.
before
And
the pandemic. But when the pandemic came, by the time it came, I think our business had pretty much deteriorated, and I was, like I said, I got injured pretty severely. And so I didn't have that input anymore into the business. My dad had a son that was going to go get the business first also. So my dad was kind of patriarchal. He was going to have the son and then the daughter. So um, that, yeah. So but
okay,
I think we need we need each other more than we acknowledge.
yeah, what I saw someone say, oh man, I took my glasses off. I swear. Well, I guess the point is like what happened? Why don't what why how did we lose this? The understanding that we need each other. And I love your
Well, it's like the
conversation about
neighborhoods. It's like the neighborhoods. my neighborhood experience, I mean, when I moved into Park Hill, there were hardly any Black people. There was a population, an African American population when I moved into Park Hill. But for years and years and years, there have been redlining. So we weren't allowed into those areas. And so we were, closer to, areas where, we didn't have resources. We didn't have a grocery store with fresh vegetables and food and stuff like that. Even on Five Points, the stores aligned around there started out probably being flourishing pretty well, but I think there was an element that saw this progress and said, "Oh, we can't have that. We can't have." I mean, because we had black musicians. We were like a little section of Harlem. We had all of that. And then I think the powers that be saw this and said, "Hey, you're getting too big. You're getting too powerful."
Yeah. Definitely. All right. Well, thank you, sister, for participating and jumping in the discussion. We'll see if I can bring you back out of the crowd and get you fired up again later. I love to try.
Thank you.
Thank you. I saw somebody in the comments say many of us have pulled ourselves up by the bootstraps. We are not seen as examples. That's Dale. I think we are examples, but I think the main question out of that is, can your individual success, is that moving the community? Right? I know a lot of people on this call here today that are individually pull themselves up out of by their bootstraps, right? And have done very well. But I think that gets back to the essence of the question. Can Black capitalism save us? Like, period. Like, okay, all this individual success, again, we got more Black millionaires, we got more Black doctors, more Black professionals, more Black executives. We got more Black people making more money than we've ever made. What's our economy right now? Is it $2 trillion a year that we spend? Something like that. Like, these are insane numbers. If you think back to Malcolm X in the Ballad of the Bullet and his conversations, he was talking about the Black community collectively speaking, spending $20 billion. And now we're talking about $2 trillion a year. And then we're collected individually. There are some people killing the game, right? Killing the capitalism game. Like, it's a beautiful thing to see individuals thriving and, have their retirement accounts together and retiring and cruising the world. And I was just in some expat community conversations. These things are wonderful. But what is that doing for everybody? Right? I think that's the essence of the question. Jan, let me let you back in here before I say too much.
No, but you're absolutely right. I totally agree with that. Because, with this, and I get it, they're on an island. Those people, they may be on an island, but even with the grassroots people who are really doing their thing, why? And I'm just going to put this out here. You should not have to have a plea for 1,000 people to appreciate what you're doing in urban intellectuals. That's all I'm saying. This should be done. Freddie, this should be done. You should have had your 1,000 people a week or a couple of days after you asked for it. But people, it's not important. They're doing their own thing. Nobody, it's your thing. That's your business. That's your problem. And it needs to be our problem. You should still have to have the same plea out, even if people, grassroots, just people on grassroots. I'm sure you have people that watch you on a regular basis, but you're giving out good content, good information, but all they want to do is suck it up and absorb it, but they don't want to put anything in to keep it going. I have a whole problem with that. And I have a whole problem with the fact that 1,000 people, African American, whoever you are, white people, have not stepped up to the plate to save urban intellectuals. And I'm complete.
I always appreciate you, Jan. Like, Jan go harder than I do. I gotta get your energy up, and we can get these people out here. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I still got the faith, right? Appreciate that. But definitely, we definitely gotta collectively get behind organizations that we believe in, or they will go away, right? I think like that is an important conversation that we gotta have, because hey, everybody's not a self-made millionaire, right? Like, or that ain't even enough, right? Billionaire or whatnot. But anyway, Lorenzo, come on into the discussion, good brother.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. How you doing today?
All right. My Zoom account is kind of messed up, so I can't turn my camera on. I
Okay.
would have it on. But I'm glad to be here today and wanted to chime in on this discussion because, as you say, it's a very important one. I think for us as a people, as a collective, and all the points that was given earlier was great points that made sense. But I think it's we've bought into, got caught up into the individuality of making it and them doing it ourselves or for ourselves or for our families, and not them being collective about it. And that's the problem. If we don't, we all have a lot of like you said, black millionaires, businesses, and doctors, lawyers, and all of that. But we got to come together as a community and support one another and support the community. The church has got to do the same thing. Tell the people to go out, in my opinion, to support their own, because that's how all other communities, ethnicities have made it. They support their own before they go outside. And black capitalism is going to be the only way that we be able to succeed or go further. But we got to stop being jealous of one another, being scared of one another, thinking if I help them, that's gonna take something from me. No, if you help them, that's a blessing for them. You gonna turn around and get one if you damn do something, or you trying to do something. Maybe they could direct somebody to your organization or your operation. What you trying to build? It's got to be us all together, all in this, all in. And individuality is not gonna get it. That's what's there kept us down, or in the situation we're in now. And things are changing now so fast, so rapidly, and a lot of people don't even understand what's really going down, what the powers that be are setting up. That if we don't get it right now, it ain't gonna be no turning back. And I don't believe you ain't gonna be able to come out of it, because you're gonna be locked in, and once you get locked into the system they damn creating as we speak, it's gonna be worse than what it was in the past. That's the way I see the outlook going. So we gotta get together, get educated, and start building and connecting with the diaspora across the world to make sure that we're not left out or we left behind or we don't become a permanent underclass.
That permanent underclass. All right, all right. I smile, I'm not mocking, brother. I apologize if you come across that way. I just smile because I hear that permanent underclass and it reminds me of Dr. Claude Anderson, right? Because
yes, sir.
Yeah, is that where you were coming from?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll be about to deflect, change the whole conversation. You bring up Dr. Anderson, which is a great conversation to have, honestly, because this is what he was talking about 40 years ago, right? 30, 40 years ago, he was talking about becoming a permanent underclass once the Hispanic market passed us up. And lo and behold, I mentioned we spend $2 trillion a year. I believe the Hispanic market is 3 trillion, 3.5 trillion. And so that's why you see the shift in the Democratic Party to Dale's. I know Dale's out there on YouTube have been talking about leaving the Democratic Party. I believe that was you, Dale. Sorry if I launched that on you. But talking about how now they're catering to their needs because they're the majority, quote unquote, minority in this country, and one that's rapidly growing, spending the money. So now they are enamored with those individuals. But Dr. Anderson was talking about this 30, 40 years ago. So anyway, all right, thanks, Lorenzo. I appreciate that. Deborah, come on back into the discussion.
I totally agree with the gentleman before. I can remember, I think part of the problem too is that we don't remember or don't want to remember what our ancestors went through. in one of the healing rituals I went through, they talked about, if you think you've got it bad, think about your grandmother or your grandmother. I mean, think about way back and how we had to struggle to get to this point, but we were more cohesive. We had more of a common goal. We had, this power to be that wasn't, the happening then. And I think we really need to seriously just get back to remembering who we are and not who we've been told we are, going back further than the history of when we entered America, because we were kings and queens. We weren't only, slaves. We were more than that. And I think also a lot of things that I observed in my community, a lot of the Black women, I'll just say with my dad's business, my mother invested heavily into his business, and a couple of Black women to help him get to the point where he was. And I just think that he forgot that how important Black women are to everything. My mother, when she retired, got back in there working. He lost focus on what was important, that alignment. And he started seeing the material things, the cars and, the women and all these things. And, the group of that he was surrounded by of men weren't emphasizing staying in the family, that tradition of, their emphasis was, well, we got money. So what we're going to do with this money. And that was also his downfall. Okay. So those same guys that said, let's do this, let's get out, go outside of our relationships and are the same ones that pulled him down and said, well, we're not going to help you and anymore than we have in the past. And by then I think my mother had been pretty frustrated with the whole situation. She kind of said, well, I'm going to let you go, and you've done this thing, so you're going to have to deal with the consequences of it. But we just kind of, for me to even have a relationship with my father, I worked in the business because I wanted this relationship. I wanted to know about this black commerce, but I also saw that in his focus of materialism, I could see people around with less materialistically and how rich they were spiritually and emotionally. They had remembered that that's what our connection to who we are is spirit. And I think back time and time again, if he had remembered that and surrounded himself with different people, because that's what's going to have to happen with all of us. We have to be cognizant of the people that we're surrounded with, and why and what they want or what they're trying to do to persuade us to lose our focus. But yeah, I believe that just black capitalism alone, we're just not going to do it. We're going to have a lot of other things in place and go through that pain of remembering who we are and to get where we need to go in the future.
I definitely agree. I hear you saying, money isn't everything.
No, right? My fondest memories are being with my grandmother, and my grandmother and grandfather built their home, but they were very spiritual people, not religious necessarily, spiritual. And that's what I remember. And that's what has pulled me through all of this, because for me, it was very depressing. But what I did out of that depression also was I invested in Black women businesses growing up. If I found a Black woman with a cause and she was trying to, have a business, I invested in that. So I didn't let this totally deplete my spirit, but it was very, very sad and depressing for a long time to see all the businesses gone. There's maybe one or two down there now that have lasted, through all of this. But this was all by design. So there were no accidents in how this all, how we lost some things. But in that loss, I gained a stronger sense of who I am and what my purpose is.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. It's like you got my mind running in like 400 directions right now, right? I want to try to keep us here. but like a lot of it reminds me of not really understanding how, to what extent, because what I heard the sister saying is, all of this is by design, all of this was by plan, this was planned, this was initiated. And doing so, the first Sunday we do Sankofa report, right? It's always the history behind the headlines, right? So there's like deep history behind America intentionally undermining the Black community, from starting on the shores, of other countries to yesterday, right? There is a long, rich history of this. And I fear in 2026 that it sounds fantastical to a lot of people who aren't studied, who aren't read, who aren't experienced, who haven't experienced it directly, right? Because that's the thing about the internet. Like, if something didn't happen to you, then somehow it didn't happen, right? Oh, well, I've never seen that. Or I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. I came from the ghetto, right? Like, if you're in the Detroit area, ask anybody about Inkster, Michigan, right? You're not supposed to make it out of there, right? I wasn't supposed to see my 25th birthday. But I can't say I made it out. Look at me. Everybody else should be able to do it. That's not how things work, right? That's just not the reality. And that doesn't undermine the fact that Inkster was created. There's a history behind that city. Like, how did the people get to that city? My father was born in 1929. I'm gonna see him next week, and my man will be 97 this year. And you got elders in your family, you better go talk to them, right? Because one, you're going to get it straight. And ain't nobody over 70, 80 years old that ain't experienced some real life mess, right? But he got there in Inkster, Michigan, because he was redlined into that area. When they went and tried to purchase a home, him and his wife, my mama, in the 1950s, they were told, you can't buy in Livonia. You can't buy out here in these suburbs. Well, where can you buy? You can buy over here. You can buy right there. And that's the city that over the decades have been underfunded, been over-policed, over-criminalized, all of the stuff that happens in all the Black neighborhoods, enclaves. I try to get away from the word ghetto, right? Which doesn't refer necessarily to a Black community, but these generated environments, and that stacks the odds against you. That is like an intentional thing. That shouldn't even be an argument. That shouldn't even be a discussion. But it's people on the internet, it's people who haven't read anything, people who haven't studied anything, that be the loudest, that try to talk down this stuff with, the alternative facts crowd. I made a post the other day, and I can't remember where I heard this, but it's just so poignant that, oh, it's Dr. Clark, John Henry Clark. Yeah, the more you talk, the more I realize the books you haven't read, right? It's something like that. I could be messing it up, right? But we talk about the conditions and the things that are going on today, but I don't know if we forgot, we're not talking about, we're ignoring, you're acting like this country hasn't deliberately undermined our communities at every chance that it's gotten. And I know what I remember now. So Deborah, you were talking, and I remember the scene in Boys in the Hood, right? When Lawrence Fishburne is talking to Trey, and I can't remember who else is there, but he gets to the point when he's talking about the hunt is on and brother, you're the prey. But before that, he was talking about the businesses in the community. And you reminded me of the 90s and what was happening during that time and the gentrification that was going on. And then the lending that's not giving, this is something you didn't mention it, but you can't continue to build and grow the business without loans. And it's clearly been a lot of undermining and racist policies inside the banking institutions, right? Lisa was getting at who controls the money, right? And I saw somebody in the comments on YouTube, and I love the comment. sister, brother, don't, please, I'm not attacking you. I love the comment. The comment was, hey, if black people just put 20% of your money in black banks, then we would have the banking and the financial institution in order to grow. The sad part is kind of what who was that? Sister Jan was talking about, and the lack of support. What's in it for me? Why I'm gonna make them rich? Like, what? You got your money in white banks anyway. And I love the comment about 20%, because she didn't say put all your money in the black bank. Put 20%, put 10%, put 5%, put $100 in the black bank, right? But we don't see the bigger picture of we're losing because I don't want that's strong. That's like it's a definitive thing. One of the nails in the coffin, one of the challenges, because we're gonna win. So one of the challenges is a lack of finance, right? So when we talk about the businesses, how do you get the loan? I know I'm experiencing it right now, right? I have an above 800 credit score, right? And I'm still having trouble getting the type of proper business loans that we need in order to do certain things, right? Yeah, it's by design. Yeah, I know it's by design. Like this is the problem. But this is where a lot of people try to act like none of these situations that undermine our community are happening. And it's been deliberate. And there's just a litany of history behind it. Like it's just so much that I don't know, I'm trying not to get frustrated again, right? But it's so much that we're dealing with. But I think Trey and Ricky, there you go. Thank you, Jan. Thank you. Now y'all got homework to do. Now we got to go watch Boys in the Hood. Check that out. That's the family dinner post movie watch. Yeah, when you are the threat, they put their foot on your neck. Yeah, I mean, this is just the truth. But this is what we've been experiencing. This is why I believe individual success doesn't translate to community power. Right? I think it's wonderful. I think you should be successful individually. I think you are special, right? I believe everyone is special. I believe we're all born geniuses, and our environments either talk us out of it, under-prepare us, or whatever the case may be. And that environment includes your parents. The environment includes what you're watching and engaging. So don't act like I'm trying to pass the buck. So whoever that is that's thinking that. So I think we're all capable. That's what I'm getting at. Oh, come on back in, Devin, because I feel like oh, I'm sorry. I feel like when Jan accused herself of rambling, I know I was just rambling. I was trying not to get too.
I've always felt that if we're all not free if one of us is not free. So I've always felt that, if I have something and you don't have something, there's definitely something wrong with that. So in that same note, my dad, his strong point was that if somebody in the street didn't have food, he would serve them food. And, even with you're saying like the importance of reaching out to whoever needs something, to be a hand up. Mm-hmm. I saw in that same neighborhood, people were in shacks. Drugs were also rampant, but it wasn't that way in the beginning. So you saw these things being introduced into the community, the drugs and all these different things. And for me, like I said, I felt like if I have something and you don't have something, I'm not free. I don't care about, money is important as a tool, but it's not everything, So if I have a nice house or nice clothes and you don't, I don't feel like that makes me better than you. It feels like I have a lot of work ahead of me to help us all have some basic things like food, shelter, and clothing. So, for me, and my dad, what he would do though, he would say, we would see people eating food out of the dumpsters that didn't have food. And he would try to feed them. And he would also say to me, he was trying to tell me that this is all by design also, that some people make it and some don't. And if you see those few make it, some people feel like, oh, we're great. We're doing fine. No, we're not. And we're doing better. maybe there than maybe sometimes in the past, but that depends on how you define better if we're not helping each other.
Yeah. And I like how you encompass success with like with your spirituality, with the alignment. I think you kept using the word alignment, rather than just money, right? And success has to be bigger than just money.
And so one more point. So I was in a Black troupe. Most of the time in our audiences, we're not other Black individuals, it's mostly white people that came. And that too told me something that, in terms of affordability, how we can't focus and, what is our focus? What do we spend our money on? Like you said, do we spend it in a community where it goes through our community several times, or do we spend it in other ways? So we didn't always spend it on the arts and stuff like that either. So I experienced that a lot, and it just made me think, how can I be a part of the solution and not just, complain or forget about people who really need, uh, you know, need the same things I need.
Yeah. 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 I love it. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate your participation. It's been me, you, Jan, and Lisa today. I love it. I love it. Oh, I forgot about my man. Lorenzo jumped in there with us today as well. All right, so I'm watching the clock. We at 4:33, right? So I've got a couple of more minutes, and I want to introduce another conversation, right? Not another conversation, but another layer of the conversation. Because okay, here's the question, right? So can capitalism save a people it was built on? Just read the question, Fred. I'm over here trying to ad lib. Let me just read it. Can capitalism save a people it was built by exploiting? Right. So even beyond the black capital, is there even a possibility that this could be a way out for us? Right. The basic question is, can we use the tools of capitalism without being consumed by its values? Is capitalism the problem, or is it lack of ownership the problem? Can there be black capitalism rooted in community obligation instead of individual greed? So I guess the real question it gets down to is this framework even one worthy of creating an atmosphere that we can win in? I know that's a lot, right? It's a deep question, right? But it's one that makes me think about, oh, come on in, Lorenzo. All right. I ain't gotta say nothing.
Freddie, once again, I have to say, yes. The problem has been is that we wasn't taught it, or we didn't understand it,
Okay.
how to use it. Now that it's coming out, and it's John John Bryant of Hope Operation says financial literacy is the civil rights issue of this time. Now that we come into the understanding of how to use our money and what to do with it and apply the damn knowledge, then it will be able to get us out of this low point we in and take us to where we need to be, put us in a position of where we need to be. Because if you don't, what you say is it? If you don't, if you not that, then what else is there to go on? Look how the other countries have done it. China, India, how they've learned it and applied it, and look where they're at this day and time. It's not always all about the money. It's like Miss Deborah said. It's a spiritual thing. It's getting alignment. Money is spiritual. See, it's a tool. It's not the end all and be all and whatnot. It's a tool in order for us to create and then build what we need, the infrastructure, to build the hospitals, to have the housing projects for our people, to have the schools, to have the grocery stores. There's black people that own all of these things. Maybe not in the hospitals. But their businesses. They're there, but they're few in number, and we can support them or build one in your community. The people who have the money come together and help establish something like that in the community, or you have people that's building gardens in communities that don't get fresh vegetables, or don't have fresh fruits. They're building community gardens, and they incorporate the people in the community to help them with it, and it's feeding everybody. It's just, we have to sit down and let's make a plan, and it can be done. That's the bottom line. We didn't stop. Learn from what the folks did, how they did it in the past. Learn from what folks are doing to try to keep us from it, and overcome that, and then make it happen. That's the only way it's gonna come to be.
I got a couple of thoughts. First, with India and China, those aren't capitalistic nations, right? So there's socialism. There's a lot of socialism wrapped into that, right? So it's not just pure capitalism. One, some would argue China is even a communist. I don't even know if it's argued, right? Because it's government. I think the government owns 50% of all the businesses, something like that, right? So there's a different mix there. But I know there's heavy socialism involved in India. And then the other concept, and I failed to mention this or bring this up earlier, is Black power, right? So we talk about Black capitalism and money and doing these things and building the businesses. I see some people talking about, we failed our children, let's make sure that we teach them how to run their parents' businesses and all of that stuff. How do we defend the business? Right? We got to be able to, because this is what I was getting at when Deborah was talking about the history of this country. Yeah, in the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, the 10s, the 1880s, we were building prosperous business. I don't think that understanding business and running businesses is an issue that the Black community has. And you see it historically, we've done that. We're doing it today. We're not doing it in unison with one another. But there's other elements at play that's pushing back against us. And when all else fails, they blow the damn city up. They blow the city up. They burn everything to the ground. They attack the people. They murder folks. They burn their children. Like, this has been the American story. Oh, Freddie, none of that is happening today. I don't put it. Do you put it past anybody? I think we've been. I think our community is. I was gonna say afraid. I don't want to use that word. I would say concerned. Nobody wants to stick their neck out anymore. You know why? Because when you stick your neck out for this community, this country has shown that if they will chop your neck off. This is why I think that we don't need Black leaders, because they kill them. Who would want to stand in front of this community and say that they're leading anything? Everybody talk tough online, but when the fights show up at your door, when your children can't go outside, when your home is at threats of being firebombed, who is going to be leading that charge? And this country is not above any of this. And your current administration is thoroughly reminding you of all of these things every single day. So I'd say that I'm disagreeing with you, brother. And I think you were referencing John Hope Bryant. I would definitely argue that capitalism and financial literacy is not the civil rights movement of the day. That's some cute stuff that financial people talk about online to make their individual capitalism seem more important. I think it is important, But the civil rights movement of the day, I ain't going that far for that one. Hey, brother Lou, come on back. My bad. I got off track, but like, man, come on. This country has gone out of its way to keep its foot on our back. And the failure, in my opinion, with black capitalism is we got away from black power. We got away from the collective strength of the community. We got away from what Huey P. Newton was talking about, the Black Panther Party for self-defense. They were saying, arm yourself. The Winchester rifle got a rifle spot in every black home. Who is that? Is that, I forget who said that one, but that's way back before Huey P. But the point was, you got to be able to protect it. We got to be able to protect it. The millionaires and billionaires, they behind walls of security. Their money is protecting them. What about the rest of us? There's a moat around them. They are fine. That's individualism. And I think that was like the bigger conversation was, did we trade black power for black excellence? We got on that conversation about excellence. You know what? We're just gonna dress better. We're gonna get our diction together, and we're gonna go down here and we're gonna demand respect. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't dress better. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get your diction together. I'm not saying you shouldn't get your education, your degrees, your qualifications, and you shouldn't get your money up. But if you can't protect it, what are we doing? And just like Sammy Davis, I got to go back because I'm listening to that story. There were still doors he can't go into. Your fame, your money, like you just ain't gonna ever have enough to walk into certain rooms. And you damn sure ain't gonna have enough to bring your community with you. Because those are the only ones that understand you and to be the ones that'll have your back at the end of the day. Right? I'm still in the middle of the book, so don't y'all ruin his story for me. I don't know. I don't actually know the brother's story, but I'm learning a lot. Who made the Winchester rifle comment? The Winchester rifle has a rifle place in every home. I can't remember that. Somebody dropped that down there for me. But I think like that, I think capitalism it's hard. I don't think capitalism is the answer. Right? I'm not saying that we have to replace it. I'm saying that you have to be educated in its understanding. I think you have to be educated in how it works. But I think what Sister Deborah was getting at all day today is really we gotta be bigger than just money, right? We gotta be bigger than just finances, and I was about to try to name some luxury stuff. I don't even know. Louis Vuitton, right? We can't be so enamored with, I'm just gonna say it's shit, right? Just buying shit to impress people that you don't give a shit about, and you can't take none of it with you anyway. Like there just has to be more about existence than buying a bunch of shit and lugging it around the planet with you, and then thinking that makes you successful. It sounds hollow. I'm sure that's all that people talk about is on their deathbed. All they wish is not that they had more money, one, that they had more experiences with the people that they love. And I think that gets to a more alignment with, like the sister was saying. Let me be quiet, sister. Come on back in here. You say it much better than I do.
I think you say.
I don't know if somebody was, okay. Even in my family, the ones that are considered more educated, with more degrees, more money, get more attention. And I, from the beginning, was about how do I connect to spirit? How do I connect, and how does that connection help me progress and move forward and help others as I've been helped? So in my family, my sister would say to me, are you, how come you aren't in school getting another degree or whatever, and I'm like, because I'm working at the degree I already have. And I'm working towards, really just helping the community and other businesses. So I don't need to keep getting degrees and keep accumulating things. I mean, and I'm not downing education. It's so much of what you have is, what are you going to do with it? You know, when you get another car, what do you need another car for? You know, I mean, I've been in a church where a lot of the people were, some of them were millionaires, and they had house after house after house. And my son and I both looked and said, well, why do you need another house? Why not help somebody who doesn't have a house? You know, so I just, like I said, my grandmother was so instrumental in grounding me, you know, with all the stuff that was going on with us having a business. And I appreciate all that. And what was as important to me is what we do with it. How do we help one another? How do we help this community? Because we lived in a good, nice neighborhood. So when my husband transitioned and I had to find other sources of work, I would let my son walk home from school. When he would walk through the white neighborhoods, he would be accosted by the police. Now, this is a kid that's maybe 8 or 9 years old. And they're asking him what his gang affiliation is. And they're throwing him to the ground, putting handcuffs on. I didn't find this out till later. I mean, when he told me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to let that go and find out what's going on here. But that traumatized him so much, even though I homeschooled him. When I sent him out into the world, it was a decision which I wish I delayed. I wish I had homeschooled him more. But when I homeschooled him, I expressed to him how important his spirit was, his creativity, his individuality. I never said, oh, make all the money you can make. You know, see how you can help someone else who doesn't have what you have. But he was, from that experience, was suicidal. And so
Wow.
I can't tell you what I went through when we got pulled over. One time I was ill and he was driving, and the policeman pulled us over and said, you did A, B, and C. And when the policeman saw me in the car, he knew that there would be a witness to this. So I had to put a stop to that. I had to make like lots of calls and say, you know, this is not what occurred, and you know, get a lawyer. I mean, so I'm just saying that all to say that, you know, you think you're safe because you got stuff, you know, or you're trying to accumulate stuff. And when when I had less of that, I still live in a good neighborhood. My son went through this thing of, because he's a little black kid walking through the other neighborhoods, of being accosted.
Mm.
And so to me, I interpret that again and again and again. It's like, the stuff's not important. The community is important. My son, his health is important. What can I do? You know, I've got to get mentors in there. I've got to get, you know, people that can think like I think and imply, you know, keep this thing of connection to spirit going, and community. So you think you have things, but you still see people around you, whether they're beloved related or beloved non-related, they're going through things where that's still my sister, that's still my brother, you know, that's who's, you know, that the police has their foot on their neck, you know. So that's just, I mean, I think it's, my sisters felt like, well, you know, money's important, so we have a, you know, difference there, you know. So, and you know, the last thing I'll leave with is, my mother came to me because I was a little girl that was always talking to God and always talking to my ancestors. And she came to me and asked me, how do I pray? You know, because I see you doing all this stuff, you know, and I'm like, well, mommy, that's a silly question to ask. You know, I talk to God just like I talk to you. You know, that it's very simple. So we have to just, you know, constantly remind each other of what's important, and constantly remind each other to remember who we really were, and who we are out of that, who we were before slavery.
Mm. Definitely. Definitely. Thank you, sister. I definitely appreciate you sharing today.
And I want to thank Lisa for inviting me because she invited me to this. So thank you, Lisa.
Hey, all right, all right. I definitely got to do a better job of when my speakers come up. Like, have you been here before? Who invited you? Right? Yeah, where are you watching from? All right. So next time,
Thank
next
you,
month.
Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you.
Thank
Not
you,
only
Lisa.
participating, bringing excellent participators, right? Brother Lou, come on into the discussion, good brother. My bad.
Hello, I am
Oh,
Sister
Sister
Lou.
Lou. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. And I've been here before. I've purchased merchandise before.
Yes.
However, I strongly believe that we can do an excellent job. However, we must start from the womb, from listening to the correct music and to eating the correct foods and teaching the children at an early age the importance of self-worth and financial literacy. You can have all the money in the world, and you're still the same color. You can live in the best houses in the neighborhood, and you still have the same color. To the best schools, but as long as you know who you are and where you came from, it's important. And we need to start teaching our children. I'm 87 years old. I'll date back before electricity. Um, our children need to know our roots, where we came from. And we were very educated people. When they went over to our homeland and stole us and brought our ancestors over here, they did not just go and snatch people up. We built this place. They stole our history from us, stole our names from us, and gave us their last name. However, we found a way now we can chase our roots because I did try to find my genealogy and I couldn't. And I found out that some of the records had been burned. But now there's another way I can get it. However, we must teach our children from an early age, I would say pre-K, financial literacy. And because they don't want us to learn how to read and write, that's how they kept our ancestors. They separated us, first of all. And the children from the fathers and the father from the mothers, and sold them all. We was property. And so a lot of times we don't know. And we did a lot of our ancestors, we did a lot of things. However, since we didn't know how to read and write and know our rights completely, they stole them from us. We didn't have the finances to make patents on them. They redlined us, our areas. So now since we know what they've done, we can read and write. I suggest to people what to do. They get a contract, read from the bottom to the top, from the back to the front. Don't let them say, this is a whole lot of money, put you in front of you. Man, you crazy, don't sign that. No, read the fine print first, because that's where it's hidden. And so now they have showed us the roadmap that we built for them, and they kept us from doing things, and they ruled us by fear and separation, hanging from trees, beaten, and then if you get anything, they're going to run through it. And every chance I get, I try to bring it to people, to melanated people. One of my melanated friends told me, Lou, you read too much. She watched soap operas. What are you feeding your mind?
Mm.
Garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. And one of my friends, I met her at church, and she said, all lives matter. Well, Black Lives Matter. Well, we're not saying that Black lives doesn't matter. They treat us like it doesn't matter. Of course, all lives matter. And they gave money to different things. One of my friends said to me, I listen a lot. I don't speak. I pray every day. Let me listen twice as much as I speak, because you learn a lot by listening to people. And we was driving through. We go out for lunch on birthdays, and we saw a Confederate flag. And I said, They got a Confederate flag up there. And she said, oh, they're celebrating their heritage. Okay. And so I listen and I think Heritage Foundation, they changed their names around. Turning Point USA. It all has a meaning, but you got to look beyond what they put in front of you. Like I said, read your contract from the bottom to the top, from the back to the front. Heritage Foundation is hiding the Daughters of the Confederates. Mm. Turning Point, when the boys go into college, they're turning 18, 19. They're legal. You catch them before they're 26 or 26 years old, you can use their mind. So you can teach them about the wife and all that. Everything was all pre-planned years ago. It's not no quick fix. And I think we need to get like minds together and come in a conclusion together and discuss how we can do these things, because we have had good leaders, excellent leaders, and what they've done, they've infiltrated. They've always given, including the ministers, giving somebody some money. Man, that's some good money. I'm gonna take that money. And they will pay them off, and they think they got money, but they sold themselves. Including this, we have people enslaved now and don't even know it. And the Bible tell you the borrower is lender to the owner. Mm-hmm. If I borrow money from you, what I gotta do? I gotta pay you back. I'm working to pay you. So I'm enslaved to you because I'm indebted to you. So that's what happened. And including the banks, they tell us about the waters. One of my friends said, I was telling them when I grew up, we didn't have electricity. We didn't have refrigeration. We had well water. And she said to me, was the water cold? I'm saying to myself, now how you ask me that? We didn't have refrigeration. To me, it was cold, yes. But that's what I knew. And we need to get back to our roots. And now I was thinking about things that's in the Bible. Our young generation don't realize what they are losing. They've gotten very comfortable, walking around with Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and all these bags and things on their shoulders. I went to an airport last year for my niece's wedding, and a brother drove me to the airport, and we went together. And I said to him in the airport, I said, what do you see? Look what kind of leather bags they're carrying, the luggage and the shoulder bag. All the melanated women had on Louis Vuitton luggage and shoulder bags. The non-melanated didn't have any designers on. And they think that make them rich. But it doesn't. They're telling you that stuff so you can keep them up. The minimum wage, I live in North Carolina. The minimum wage in North Carolina is $7.25 an hour. So where can you go for that? If you get a girl pregnant, where are you going to live? What kind of school are you going to? Because your school is connected to your taxes. So you can't get a good school. You can't get a good home. So you can't send your kids to school, to college. And then the ones that did put their pennies together and send their kids away to college, now you want to get rid of all the school, all the loans. You don't want them to have the loans to go to school anymore. However, I do realize our ancestors was very, very clever. I found out my stepfather used to take us to, every year, we went to we were little kids, I thought it was great. Went to somewhere called Bettis Academy in South Carolina. We just went to have a good time. He beat the drum, but we look forward to doing that. However, when I moved to North Carolina, I said, what is Bettis Academy? I said, an academy is a school. So I went online, I looked it up. And I said, wow. And ministers got together. The minister was unable to read. He had been enslaved. And he went and bought land and built that school. It is no longer a school. And there's so much that I've found out since then. And I do recall when I was a little girl, and I lived in the country, we was farmers. We all went on a truck into a little town to the movie. I'd never been before, but we was happy. My stepfather never told us what he was doing. We went to the movie theater to see a boxing match. And I remember, and Joe Louis was fighting Max Mellor. And he wanted his kids to see a black man hit a white man. And at that time, I didn't understand it. After I retired and I went to school and studied computers and stuff. And I was telling my brother about it. And there's a lot of history, and I've been studying since I've been retired. When I was in school, we had 1 week, what they call Black History. We did not have a month. Every day is a Black History because we're making history right now. And I've learned all things about land. I've been to the Gullah Geechee place on twice. They stole that from us also. Memorial Day. They don't tell the whole story, but you look it up, you'll find it. But a lot of people don't look it up. And because when they came back, the soldiers, they just dumped them. And they got their bodies and they give them a proper burial. And so from this day on, we're going to call this Memorial Day in memory of those soldiers. So there's always celebrating the Black soldiers. No, I don't say Black, the soldiers. However, they left off part of it. They're still alive. The real McCoy. It's so much. I'm still studying. Thank you too. I'm still studying. And I think you need to start from all the way up and about land too. I told my son about this. When you're buying land, make sure you put in that land, make sure that land is the correct land, which you're going to put on it. Make sure it's not landlocked because they'll sell you some land in the middle somewhere. Everybody's got it all around there. You can't do nothing with it. You can't even walk on it. You're trespassing. So that's important to know where your land is, can grow the stuff you want to grow on it, have you access to the land and all that, and the drainage and the infrastructure. So it's very important that we must teach financial literacy from the womb up. All this rock and roll, this boom, boom, boom stuff the kids listen to, that's why they got attention deficit. They listen to it in the womb and it affects the kids. So it's important that people like mine somehow get together and make a discussion and pool our finances together, purchase land, got to be like-minded, and teach them to take care of the property. And then we can rule. And they cannot come through with no road. Put in there, you cannot come through with no roads, no highways in their infrastructure and tear our land apart. That's what they did. In Wilmington, North Carolina, that's what they did there. They had control of the land. However, the non-melanated people, they trusted. They act like they're your friend. Mm-hmm. We had that something recently, like July. Mm-hmm. And they was their friend. They believed them, and they ambushed them. They ambushed them and took the land from them, took the beach from them. They're a beautiful beach. Because all of a sudden now I want to go to that beach because we couldn't go before. This the ice water's cold, you see. I went to the beachfront and everything now. So now they have beach property there, and you know what they're going to do, right? They're going to take their property and build homes on it and charge a fortune. And the same thing with the Gullah people. When they was on their island, they wasn't paying taxes because we was used to borrowing each other. When I was a little girl growing up, if your neighbor had something and you didn't have something, you shared. When we did eat pork. When we killed hog in the fall of the year, everybody came in. The men killed it and took the hair off, and all the women got around the tables. They was grounding and cutting up and boiling and all that. And we didn't grow it, we didn't eat it. And we didn't starve. And walked to school. I went to school in a one-room schoolhouse with 4 classes in one room. One of my friends said, well, how did the kids pay attention? Because we respect our teachers. and respect our elders. And each kid had a blackboard on that wall, and the teacher, we had tables. There was the same dining room also with the classroom. And we listened to the teacher and with no confusion. And so that's what we need to get back to. Get together and get our like minds together with the same ideas and do a we. Because another thing, they steal those ball players and put them, they're enslaved. Anytime you can be sold, you are enslaved to the highest bidder. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you for sharing, sister. We definitely enjoyed. They loving you in the comments on YouTube everywhere. So we definitely appreciate it. But that's I mean, I don't know. I feel like that sums up like a lot of what we talked about, but also sums up Sunday dinner, right? We get an opportunity to hear the elders speak, to get an opportunity to sit at the ankle of the elders and listen and learn. Somebody on YouTube said, "I've never heard." Where did it go? The landlocked device. Advice I've never heard. No landlocked land, right? Yeah, right. I love it. But no, village love, like she hit it all, right? On things that we need to do. Um, we definitely got it. I believe we definitely got to teach financial literacy. I dropped a poll on YouTube. It's 100% of the people say that Black capitalism can save us. Right? I don't know. I don't think it's a thing alone, right? That's my opinion. There, I don't think capitalism alone is the answer. But it, and if you're gonna live in this society, you better get some of this money. But while my Black capitalists are thinking, I want to make sure that I ask you to join us right on our Sankofa Universe site. We just got an app. It's different though, right? So you get on there, it makes it much easier to get to. So if you click the link, go ahead and register and sign up. If you're on an Android, you will see at the top, easy an opportunity to go ahead and download and put the app on your phone. Is much lighter than a typical app. You'll see. You can't get it from the store just yet. If you've got an iPhone, it's an extra couple of steps. And off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly how to get the app down. So if you go ahead and join, I'll make sure that I get a video up. It's like if you click share, if you're going to share, you sign in, register, you click share, like you're going to share the page in your browser. Then there's an option for you to download the app in there or add the app to your homepage. I think that's the language that it uses. But let's continue this conversation, whether you get the app or not, right? You'll see what I'm talking about, but we appreciate you joining us over there. But if you got Android, you'll see it as soon as you log in, it'll be up there. But my thought for the conversation, right? I wanted to keep it going. What would we build if we stopped waiting for permission, right? We're a little over on the show, right? We're supposed to end at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but y'all, my veterans know we can definitely go longer. But I've been trying to get out on time, right? But I just want to leave you with some thoughts, and I'm hoping that we can take this conversation and move it over to the social network and kind of keep it going. But what would we build if we stopped waiting for permission? What would we do if we stopped waiting on somebody else to tell us or give us approval for what we need to build in our community? I saw a quote. I got a couple of things I want to end on now. I saw a quote that said, "You already know what you need to do. You're just negotiating with comfort." Right?
Yes.
And like that always hits me in my chest, because we know what we need to do, right? We just got to stop playing games and go ahead and make it happen. So that's a good conversation I want to have. But then the other one is, well, not the other, but like a prompt for that is, Black capitalism can only save us if we use it to build ... Like, I want us to fill in that part of the conversation so we can do that over on the platform, right? But it can help us save us if we build what? Like, what is the missing? So let's keep that conversation going. I just want to share this book. I don't know. I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna like work this in. There's no cute way to work it in, y'all. So I'm just gonna bluntly say, hey man, I've been reading this, or I just finished reading this, or listening to it. I do Audible sometimes. But Burn Down Master's House Man, let me tell y'all, this is a historical fiction piece. This is priceless. This is absolutely priceless. But that alignment, that there's something bigger at play. This is all through this book. This is, I got goosebumps. This was very well done. And it seems like it's telling like individual stories, but like the author draws a thread through it. And then my promise to you is to listen to the author notes at the end. Like don't, because I was about to click it off because it's pretty long, right? And all of that. But oh my God, the author's notes make what you just listened to so much better because this individual did their research in the history and they went into the history of finding stories of burning down Master's house, right? Because we never, I ain't gonna say never, but I think a mistake is we pass along, hey, everybody was complicit. Kanye West says, I don't like slavery was a choice. Well, nobody ever tells you about the people burning down the house, right? And they burned down the house physically, in a lot of different ways, right? So I don't want to like try to tell you the whole story, but my goodness, that was incredible. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And just wanted to make sure that I put it up there and recommend it. If y'all into historical fiction, I didn't really started going down this path. There's another one too I really enjoyed. I can't remember the name of it. I'll post it in the social network. I'm taking this down next too. Yeah, what else did I want to share with y'all? It was something else. But just some things that I was thinking about. Next week, next Sunday for Sankofa Sunday is our classroom, Sankofa Classroom. So we're going to open up the vault, and I'll just say we got Dr. Aiden. We got a Dr. Aiden lecture, course, class that he's teaching inside of Urban Intellectuals, teaching inside of our Sankofa Circle. So you'll be able to see what your membership gains you access to. And all our people who already have access, y'all know our teachers don't play inside of Urban Intellectuals. So you'll definitely have it'll be a good viewing experience from a historian, right? A real historian, right? I'm just passionate, right? I like to say I'm an enthusiast when it comes to this history game, but I have an opportunity to mingle with our historians and learn from them as well. But I just want to thank y'all for being here this Sunday, right? Coming to us on our Sunday dinner. Every fourth Sunday, we do this type of discussion, right? So the other Sundays, I got some engagement for y'all, but it's not quite as interactive. But Sunday dinner is the one where we come and open up your microphone and give you an opportunity to be heard, right? And I think that it's important because the community needs to hear, particularly from our elders. So I love that. And our youth, I love when our youth show up and engage us as well. But if this was your first time here, hopefully we didn't run you away, right? Hopefully you enjoyed the discussion and you like the ideal and the concept. And reminds you, I know you only get this virtual sweet potato pie. Who made the potato salad? But I know you only get this virtual sweet potato pie. But hopefully the dinner was filling today. The conversation was fruitful. And we could continue to grow and build together. So if you have any questions or comments or thoughts or anything, I would love to hear them. You can shoot us an email at support@urbanintellectuals.com, support@urbanintellectuals.com. Or if you catch me online, you could probably inbox me quicker than anything else, to be honest with you. But I'd love to hear from you. Hey, if you go over to Sankofa Universe and sign up, you can definitely catch me over there. I'm starting to post more and more. My team and my people are trying to get us to post more behind the scenes, what's going on. So I'm posting more stuff like that over there. I'm sharing my workouts over there. I'm trying to get rid of my inner fat boy. I've been enjoying myself. So just trying to get my health together and all that good stuff. So I'll be sharing more and more about that. I think that's another important conversation that we need to have, right? It's not just weight, right? But you know what my father always says, and I know next week, I'm going to try to get him on, see if he'll do a conversation with me next week. But he always talks about going to the doctor. He's always educating me about the doctor on, hey, when you get your blood work, when you get your papers, you get your information, like look it up, but don't just be satisfied with the range. He always says, if you're in the range, that's cool. But like if you're close to one number or the other, hey, something's wrong. Just because you're technically okay, if you're starting to borderline get on another number, you need to start asking questions and start to figure out, well, what do I do to normalize this so I can get away from the danger zones, whether it's too high, too low, or whatever. And he's always walking around with his papers, man. Like, but I giggle, but he about to be 97, right? Like he's about to be 97. So I need to stop giggling. I need to make sure that I'm learning, listening, right? I'm listening, listening and building on that. So I want to make sure I share that with y'all. I love to hear from this. Yeah. I don't get him on. I know we gonna sit down. We got to catch up. I haven't talked to him in a while. So, and he's a busy man. So, at 97, he gets around. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in that. And so, and I'll say this, without saying too much, check on y'all elders, right? Check on your elders in your family. Check on your people in general, right? Just check on your people, right? A lot of folks are going through stuff that are suffering in silence, right? And sometimes it just takes a phone call or text or something to reach out to them. You'd be surprised what folks got going on in their lives. So I just want to encourage you to be a little kinder, show a little more grace, show a little more love to the people that you love anyway, and get on the phone with them, man, and sit around with them and be under their presence and listen to them and ask questions. You might just learn something too. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this. Thank you, YouTube, for being here. Thank you, everybody here on Zoom. Oh, Alicia, you got a question or a thought?
No, I don't have a question, but I just want to say how important it is. My aunt was 103. She exercised all the way up to when she was 100, and then all of a sudden she had stopped. And then I was like, what's going on? You usually do your walk or you doing your weights and everything. And she wasn't even in the position to even talk anymore. So I realized how important health is. All of my relatives have lived to their 90s or above.
Nice.
So, I mean, I'm in my late 60s, but everybody think I'm a kid. So I try to get them to understand health was very important. Eating the right foods, growing your vegetables. Don't go to the grocery store and go in the middle, stay on the outer aisles and get your nourishments. So that's very important. And going to the doctor. A lot of us do not like to go to the doctor, but at least get that checkup every year or get something done so where you can, build your body up and stay healthy as long as you can. I've been in fitness myself ever since I was in the military. I did 27 years in the military, and everybody couldn't believe I made 27 years.
Nice.
But I ended up with cancer because I was trying to do 30 years, and I don't know where it came from. It just popped up one day, and I was like, and they were telling me, well, your mother had it, your father had it, your great grandfather had it, and then I found out everybody else done had it. So sometimes it is hereditary, and sometimes it's just environmental. So that's all I wanted to say and I love this group because I've been with International Urban Intellectual for almost 4 years, and to see new faces, and I have all the paraphernalia. I have everything you can think of, and they keep sending me letters. Well, you need to get this, and I'm like, I already got that.
Yeah.
But but it's nice to know that it's out here. But to see we only have like 14 people on here right now kind of hurt my heart because back in the day we had like hundreds of people on, and then they just died away. So that's what happens in society. I don't know if we get tired or if we just don't feel like participating anymore. It's just something with individualism. Everybody just separates themselves. They just don't want to participate. But I think if we could get more people to understand the whole society and what we should be doing as a nation, as a people, we will get more better because we'll everybody get more educated. They got mad at me. I worked at a bank. They got mad at me because I knew how to take money out the bank, take the interest off, and put the money back in the bank. They fired me because they said you got too much knowledge. You may take everybody else's interest out their bank. I said, well, why would I want to do that when this is my money I'm working with? He said we can't afford to have that to happen. So I know what it's like when you very educated and the white people say, uh-oh, we scared of her. The military said it. Because I said, well, AR regulation, AR 600-9 said blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oop, time to shut her mouth because she know too much. And she can know how to, as they call it, manipulate. I said, I've never manipulated anything. I do it to help people. I don't understand where their thinking is. And I tell them that, people get mad at me, and I'm going to say it like I said. I've confronted people who say white is not always right. I don't know where y'all got that from. And they would get mad at me because of that. But we need to know that we need to get together as a community. We need to stop being individualism. I've had businesses, I couldn't get my people to help me or buy my product, but when they get products, I buy theirs. And I'm like, well, why can't you reciprocate? I don't know. It is things like that that happen in the world. You'd be like, okay, I'm gonna stop helping everybody out. But that is not me.
I
So
was about to say, no, you ain't.
no. I said because I started food banks everywhere I go. I go to each grocery store. The things that there were getting ready to throw in the garbage, I would bring it and it says, hey, this is getting ready to spoil. This is 2 days before. Come and get it. Boom. And people would come and get it. So I started doing that and people would come around and come get their food. So I'm still doing it now at my church. So they're glad that I'm there because it's important. If you got food going to waste, why are you not giving it to people who need it right now? Why would you want to throw it away instead of not even investing? You were going to give it away or throw it away. So you don't want them digging in the garbage cans because you threw food away. You should be able to have it to where it's accessible to them and they can get what they want. So that's all I want to say. But I love it that so many new faces and people probably haven't been around in a while or spoke. But yes, I'm so glad that everyone that is here. And we have a plan. And the plan is to implement the plan and not let it go to waste.
Yes,
So,
yes. Thank you, sister. I always appreciate you.
thank you.
Yeah, man, y'all get me keep thinking. All right, so first of all, we had some glitches with the email. So all right, it should be more people here today. Next show. And we had 25 to 30 people on YouTube. So we kind of split the audience a little bit, just trying to test some stuff as we continue to grow. Something else you said. I think we got to do a health conversation, right? So I think that's good. So thank you for putting that on my radar. Grow your own food, right? That's something that you always hear from the elders. It's becoming increasingly more important now because I don't know if y'all seen now, they're approving more and more of these seedless vegetables. So none of your vegetables are gonna have seeds in them. So hey, take that for whatever you want to take it. But how you buy something, you get the seeds, and now you just throw them in the ground. Like that's like intentionally going. It's been like dwindling over the last few decades, to be honest with you. But I gotta get the exact story I was reading. They have ramped this up seriously, and I don't know if you know this. If you're out of the country, you can't bring seeds into the country, right? Like you get caught with seeds. Like that's a whole thing. If you bring it in these heirloom seeds, right, which is the original strand that goes back hundreds and thousands of years or whatnot, like you can be in trouble. So it's an interesting time, y'all. It's an interesting time to say the least. So, but this is why I think conversations like this are important. So we can share, right? We get around the dinner table and share. Come on in, Sister Deborah.
They do the same thing with rainwater. You cannot take rainwater and water your plants.
Yeah.
And you used to be able to drink it, but it's so polluted now you can't even do that. So and I was going to say, learned helplessness is this whole system of if you beat something down enough or you show by example what happens to you when you speak up, and you look at somebody, so you get tired of being tired, and you just sort of give up mentally, spiritually, and physically. And so that's what learned helplessness is. And it's a historical thing. It's what they've done from the beginning. Yeah. You can't help yourself, so we're going to help you. You can't think for yourself, so we're going to think for you. You can't do anything. We have to be the one implementing everything and telling you whose you are, right, instead of you knowing whose you are from your spirit.
I love it. I love it. Well said.
Thank you.
It's like it was one more thought I had. All right, but I'm gonna let it go. Y'all know if we keep going, we'll be here to 5:30 in the morning. But it's just always fun to come together and have these discussions. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it today. We'll work on growing the community. Hey, let's everybody be like Lisa, bring a friend. Next Sunday dinner, every fourth Sunday is where we do this, but every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, we have a show for you. Hopefully y'all are enjoying those. If you haven't caught them, just go to the YouTube channel, just look up Urban Intellectuals. You can jump on and catch up. But every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we got content coming to the community. So, and please join the group, right? Join Urban Intellectual. If you like what we're doing, become a member, right? Don't just watch, join. Your membership support helps us continue to do the work that we are doing. We're in our membership drive for 300 people who believe in the mission of what Urban Intellectuals is doing. I want to ensure that we are able to continue to do this particular work. Why the number 300? Because that helps us cover our monthly bills, right? That is, if we can wake up in the month, in the first of the month, okay, wake up. All right, anyway, no, and have the bills covered. It takes a lot of pressure off of the business. It makes sure that everybody gets paid, working in the company, and we can continue doing the things that we do. So that's the first number. We'll continue to build and grow after that. So looking forward to seeing y'all next week. Check out Sankofa Universe. Till next time, good people. It's been real. Love, peace, and power to the people. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate y'all. I need some outro music or something. I got to remember that. Good night, everybody. Hopefully you enjoy.
Night.
Good night.
Love everybody.
Good night.
Night, all.
Blessings.
Have a blessed
Night.
Thank you.
Good night.